Welcome back, book lovers. It's Lady Lauren Explorer, and today is the 13th of October. So, hold up. 13th of October, and we are on the 13th of October for the Chestnut Man. If you haven't been in this read along with me for the coinciding days of this book, I am reading with the corresponding dates in the book. They have chapters, but most of this book is in dates. So you have Tuesday the 6th, and I think, and then the 5th. So I started reading this really on the 8th, and then I caught up on the 12th, which was my birthday. And then I finished the 12th, and now I'm on the 13th. And then my next date to read this book is October the 16th. Yeah. But we are following two detectives as they are encountering this very puzzling and almost like the Zodiac killer mentality of a serial killer. We got a taste of him in October 31st, 1989, and now he's back. But there's a twist. There has been a missing MP's daughter who's been missing for a year. She's presumed dead, but her fingerprint was found at the scene of a present-day crime. And that's weird because she's been gone for a year. How did her fingerprint get on the scene? We don't know. I'm gonna find out, but probably not soon enough, because again, I'm reading this as corresponding days, so I'd be left on a cliffhanger for 3 days if this leaves me on a cliffhanger on October 13th, like it did on the 12th. But we do know that this is his second killing in the present day, and he's toying with the police. He also gave them a clue of who he was going after because he planted evidence on her husband. So let's get it on and read. Oh wait, wrong way. Okay. I'm literally on chapter 55, and I am really not liking how Doozy, the female detective, is handling this case. Because, this is the second time she's saw something that's really weird and then got distracted and then just left. Literally, here. Doozy turns the key, puts the car in gear, and drives swiftly down the road. She has to go through all of the feedback from the group that day, but all she wants to really do is go back to the station and read through the case files. Start fresh. Go through them again, find a connection, blah, 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 blah. Doozy is turning off sitter vignette and heading for the main road when something in the rearview mirror catches her eyes and makes her brake. She can only make out a car parked 50 yards behind her. It's underneath a large spruce trees at the blind end of the road that joins Cedar Vineyard, almost indistinguishable from the trees in the hedge beyond, which is the area with the playground. Doing reverses until she is parallel with the vehicle. It's a black estate car, no distinctive features inside or out, but a faint mist rising from the hood in the rain tells her the engine is still warm. The car can't have been parked more than a few moments ago. Doing glitches around, anyone with an errand on a residential street pulls up outside the house they want, but the car is tucked away in a little niche just behind the dead end. For a fleeting moment, she considers running the plates, but then her mobile rings and she sees a display that it's Lee. It dawns on her that she completely forgotten she was supposed to pick up her from her granddad's. And Dewin takes a call and drives away. Like, really? What? How are you a detective? Like, what is this? That is just so, oh my gosh, I'm hating her. Oh, even I know that that's a significant, if it made you stop and back up, maybe, just maybe you want to run the plates, at least take the license plates and then drive off. But she didn't do either of that. Like, come on. I'm continuing on. Okay. So I finished October 13th, and this one was a doozy. I still don't like how Thuin is like literally being really impatient. She is like, I told you, she's like one of those old detectives who just don't have the patience to like look for evidence. If it's not in your face, then she can't see it. Like, it's not fair. And then Hess is, even though he's arrogant, he's like following leads. If he suspects something, he's investigating it and thoroughly. And I'm liking that. Just saying. But where this leaves us is they do have something in common, these two deaths. And the deaths so I told you that Laura has a son who has a mental disorder. And there was a anonymous tip to the caseworkers that Laura is neglecting her son and spreading her legs. And that happened months before she was killed. And the caseworkers like looked into it and didn't find anything, and they were all shocked. But Hess thinks that there's something to the tip. And he also thinks that the tipper is the killer. So he goes back with Thoen to her house to like look for any evidence. And obviously he doesn't find anything in the house, but he does find some pictures that I think his name is Magius has like drawn. And as the pictures go, the drawings get more detailed because he's getting better at drawing. But one thing that the pictures start having is that the garage of the house gets bigger than the house. So Hess is like, I'm going to go into the garage. He goes into the garage and he's looking around. He's like, oh my gosh, okay, maybe this is just the work of a mentally challenged kid. Then he steps on something. It's a rug, but there's a thunk. And he's like, there's something underneath the rug. So he lifts the rug and it's a hatchet. He pulls out he goes into the hatchet, and it's a soundproof room that's decked out with like a whole bunch of like Wi-Fi, a table, coffee table, a camera with a tripod, if you get where I'm going, that's pointed at the bed. And then he gets knocked in the head. So remember that car that Thuin was looking at and she just drove it away? Turns out that car might belong to Hans, and Hans is Laura's current boyfriend. Hess thinks that that tip made her very cautious. So while Hans was at a work conference, she changed the locks on her door. And everyone was trying to figure out why would she change the locks on her door and why didn't he know that she changed the locks on her door. He also kept saying that, Hans kept saying that as the months went on, she was pulling away from him and all of her friends, which now coincide. I think she had a inkling that something was going on with her son and him, and she was pulling away. She just didn't know what it was, but she just wanted to make sure, so she was pulling away. And Magus wasn't talking, so we all know what happened down there. For 14 to 15 months, he had been getting tortured and violated, and it was being put out to the world because Hans was a pedophile. We've later find out that he was specifically looking for women with kids, single women with kids on his dating profile, and he found her, and her husband just died, so she was broken, and he just latched onto that because of her kid. Crazy. But then we go over to Anna and her death, and Hess thinks that, okay, well, if that happened, there was no anonymous tip here, but the kids lived 2 other places before coming to Copenhagen, so let's figure out if there has been any tips that abuse has been going on in the household. And there has been many hospital visits that the 2 girls have been having, too many to be good for growing up little girls. And now I'm thinking that the killer is targeting not the people who have done the deeds, but the women who should have known and done something about the deeds that were happening to their children. But what's crazy is they're on the cusp of doing something. Laura was breaking away from Hans, and she was actually packing her and her children's passports, and Eric didn't know. He thought that they were just going to their grandmother's house, but it's been heavily implied that she was leaving him. And also, the techs at the house, when they were interviewing Eric, found dried blood in the hallway, but it was old dried blood. And Eric says that it's maybe because one of the girls, she had broken her nose, and the blood, was dripping and all that kind of stuff. So that also coincides with maybe he's been abusing these girls physically and not sexually like Hans did Magus. But oh my gosh, this is just getting so good. And now I have to wait. Oh, and another thing is Thuin is literally, she goes back to the house. That's how we find out that Hans is on the run now, because he's the one who hit Hess in the head because he was trying to get the laptop back, and the laptop had all of the videos of Magus and him and all that kind of stuff. So she goes home and she is looking out of her window and she sees a figure right across from her. And it looks like, and then she's remembering the figure that she saw when she dropped off her daughter in the very beginning of the book. And when the wind blows, I think like a curtain goes like ruffling, and then it settles again, and then the figure's gone. Now she's like a little paranoid, so she's like, it ended with like her turning off her lights and just looking out the window where the figure was. I am here for this right now. I cannot wait till October 16th so I can read what else is about to happen, because this is so good. Now that we know that the killer is probably targeting the women of the abusers that are happening to kids. So, I mean, I think that I can narrow that in. I still don't know who it is. I still want to know about what happened in 1989 and if the Chestnut Man killer was in the basement of that house. I also want to know what happened to those 2 kids that were in the house, so I don't know. But I cannot wait. I hope you guys will be with me along the ride on October 16th so we can all figure out what's going on together with this new one. I'm thinking there's probably going to be a new murder. Just saying. Also, I'm trying to figure out, is he building his own Chestnut Man with the body parts he's taking from the women? Because, But I will see you guys October 16th for this part of the Chestnut Man read-along coinciding dates. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Comment down below, like, what are your theories? Because, like, I am so invested into this now, and I cannot wait. And I also think I want to watch the Netflix show. I do. So I will see you guys then. Bye.